50 on page 251. I'm going to try to mimic the graph as well as possible so we can all look at it and explain and go over it. It's not going to be a perfect graph, my apologies. So I think the graph looks like this. So this is the graph of f of x. Okay. Lots of questions. I'm going to add a couple myself. Number one, I'm going to ask you, is it a function? And yes or no is not sufficient. What do you think? Does the graph represent a function? Anyone? I know you want to give me a second to drink some water, but I'd like you to answer. What do you think? So function by the vertical line test. Number two, domain. Can anyone give us the domain of this function?
It's negative infinity to positive infinity.
Perfect. Obviously, because of the arrows, it goes all the way. Very good. Number three, range. Remember, we sweep.
4. Negative infinity to 4.
Excellent. Great job. 4. X-intercepts, if they exist.
Negative 4 and positive 4.
Very good. We have two options. What I would have, perfect, yes, but we have to say either x equals or write them like this. Or if you don't want, if the problem is not asking for ordered pairs, these will be okay also. 5.
All right.
Y-intercept. What do you think for the y-intercept? Yes. So we either say y equals 1 or, which I prefer, 0, 1. 0 for x, 1 for y. Great job. 6. Intervals on which the function is increasing. So we go back to the graph, and I'm going to put my arrows. So that I know clearly what I have to write. And we're only referring on the x values, not from which to which, but from what to what. So can anyone give us the increasing intervals? And how many you see? How many increasing intervals we see on this function?
Negative 4 to 4, union 1 to, no, I want 0, 0, 1 to
Okay.
Sorry, you said that the increasing intervals we're doing from the x-axis, not the y-axis?
Absolutely.
Okay, so would it be negative infinity to negative 2?
Excellent. So let me show to everyone, hold on 1 second. So the increasing trend is for x values between negative infinity and negative 2. I said, please understand, not from which value till which value. We are not interested in that. We're interested to say, let's say our salary increased between 2000 and 2020. Not from which value till which value. Good. Union.
And then 0 to 3.
Excellent. Is that clear, everyone? Erin, is this clear? We're not looking at the y values. Is that understood?
Yes.
Okay, so of course 7 is the intervals for decreasing. And what is not here, obviously, has to be decreasing. Between negative 2 and 0 is decreasing, and between 3 and infinity, the function will be decreasing. So negative 2, 0, union 3 to infinity. Question 8. Values of x for which f of x is less than 0. Find x such that f of x is less than or equal to 0. So let's go back to the graph. I see two portions of the graph. I see this portion that is above the x-axis, which must be positive, and I see this piece of the graph that is below the x-axis. Y values must be negative, or the function must be negative. So from the x-axis up, the values of the function are all positive. From the x-axis down, all values are negative, because the function is below the x-axis. I will be reading y values that are negative. So we're asked to find those x values that make the function 0 or negative. So looking at the graph, anywhere here, which x values will make the function be negative? If I plug them in, the function, the result will be negative or 0. Obviously, I cannot pick anything between these values. Between negative 4 and 4, I cannot pick anything because every time I pick, the function values will be positive. So only when I pick from negative 4 to the left or from 4 to the right, the function values will be negative. So that's my answer from the graph. So I will say x in the interval negative infinity to negative 4 with a bracket because I have the equal symbol, and then union 4 to infinity. So if I choose this number and I extend, the function value will be negative. If I choose this number, the function value will be negative. But if I choose this number, the function value will be positive and I read a positive number. So between negative 4 and 4, the function is positive. To the sides, the function is negative. Does anyone have questions or doubts about that? Okay, number 9. The numbers at which f of x has a relative max. So this is position. They are not asking how much is the maximum. They are asking us, give us the x values, the numbers at which f of x has a relative max. I don't know, let's take a look. Can anyone give us numbers, or first of all, does this function have any relative max? Is that a yes?
Could you repeat the question?
Yes. I want to determine the number's position at which f of x has a relative max. Does this function have a relative max?
Yes.
Yes. How many?
2.
2. Up, down. So this must be a relative max. Up, down. This must be a relative max. Where are they positioned?
Negative 1, 4, and then 3, 2.
Careful. By position, we mean only the x values. We're not asked about any y values at this point. Position. So one more time. Where will I find the x, the relative max? At x equals,
Negative 2.
yes, and at x equals,
3.
that's it. At x equals negative 2 and x equals 3. 10. That's it. Find the relative max. Now this is a different story. Now they are not asking us for position. They are asking us how much is it. So I'm going to say at x equals negative 2, relative max is, and you'll tell me what it is. At x equals 3, relative max is. So what is the relative max at negative 2? Very good. What is the relative? It is 4, yeah. Sorry.
4.
No problem. So at 3, how much?
3.
2. 2. I know you cannot read from my graph. It's difficult. Good. Next question. 11. Find f of negative 2. What am I asked to do now? To find f of negative 2. What is given and what is the answer? What am I given in the question? And what am I asked to find?
Aren't they asking you what the y value is? And then
Great job. Excellent. Yes. So we already have it. We determined it. For x equals negative 2, I draw a vertical line at x, a vertical line x equals negative 2. It crosses the graph at this point, and I read 4. So f of negative 2 equals 4, and I read from the point negative 2 comma 4. 12. The values of x for which f of x is 0. Find x for which f of x is 0. What is given now in the question? And what am I asked to find now?
you need to find the x value.
Yes, awesome. So I'm given y equals 0, but I know that this is y equals 0. The equation of, we established that last time, the equation of the x-axis is y equals 0. So we already answered that question. It's the same question. They are trying to trick us. It's the same question with the x-intercepts. Here they are. So I will write x equals plus or minus 4, or I will write 4 or negative 4 comma 0 and 4 comma 0. Same question. Okay, final question, 13. Is this function even, odd, or none of the above? Even, odd, or none? Not symmetric. So let's look at the graph. Can we fold the graph? In other words, do I have the same in the first quadrant with the second? Or do I have the same in the first and the third? Or the second and the fourth?
No.
No. So we conclude none. The function is not symmetric. It's not odd, it's not even, It's not symmetric. What else we have to work on is, again, I like to present another piecewise defined function, and then I would like to talk about the difference quotient. Any questions? Is everything clear with this?
Yeah.
Great job. Okay, I think I'm on page 6. Okay, so let's talk about the difference quotient. And what it means. So let's look at a graph. Here's a function, f of x. I'm going to use 2 points on this function, p and q. And the coordinates of p, you're going to give me the y value. So what is the y coordinate for p? Anyone?
F of x.
Thank you very much. At some point in time we will have to learn this. This is very important. And what about the y coordinate of q?
F of x2.
Yes, but it's exactly what it's here. There is no ambiguity. So it must be f of whatever this is. Okay, so now I would like someone to give me the slope of this line. And how do we determine it? So the slope of PQ. I'll give you the beginning. Rise over run. Yes, anyone?
M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1.
Very good. F of x plus h minus f of x over x plus h minus x. Luckily, these two go away. And this is f of x plus h minus f of x divided by h. This is the difference quotient. What is its meaning? It is interesting, but what does it mean? What are you telling me? Okay, here's what I'm telling you. This is the rate of change of function of f of x between p and q. P and q. Okay, you do not have to memorize this. This will be given to you in all tests and final exam and etc., etc. But now we have to calculate it. So we want to determine. So find and simplify the difference quotient for, and you can choose. As you see, the difference quotient is given to us between 71 and 92. Any function, let's choose a function and determine its difference quotient. Also, there are two things that have to happen. Every time we determine the difference quotient, I'll tell you and we'll write them down. If they don't happen, we made an error and we have to go back to the drawing board from scratch. Something was wrong. Any preference, or I choose? Okay, I'm choosing 80. And this is on page 252. F of x equals 3x squared plus x plus 5. They're asking us to determine and simplify the difference quotient. And as I said, it is given to us. the difference quotient is f of x plus h minus f of x over h. Which of these three pieces need attention or you are concerned about?